Hello and welcome back to the Chaos Ball Podcast. This is episode 113 of the Chaos Ball Podcast. I'm going to start off hot by saying the league let it happen. The league let it happen. They let Donovan, Donnie Barrels, Solano get hot, baby. He is scorching right now. He has had a month of June that is just completely, well, no, it hasn't gotten his numbers back to, an ideal spot on the season, but he's been a key contributor, and coming into the game on Sunday, he was the leader in WRC Plus on the Mariners for the month of June. Small sample, yes. Smaller sample than the everyday guys, but he's been contributing, and he's hot. He's certifiably barreling baseballs all the time right now. He had a phenomenal series in Chicago. I mean, the team had a pretty damn good series in Chicago, but him especially, very, very impressive from our man Donovan. He even got a start on Saturday against a right-handed pitcher because Luke Raley's not back, which is amazing because I love Luke Raley, but there was like, there were conversations, do we demote Canzone again, which I thought they were going to do, but no, they kept him, and Canzone, I'm not going to say it yet, but he's hitting home runs. Or it was Rowdy or Donovan Solano, and since they gave Solano that fully guaranteed, $3 million, I think it was $3 million, or was it 3.4, whatever, fully guaranteed deal, and Rowdy was just on the minimum, essentially, they DFA'd Rowdy Tellez. So salute to Rowdy. But Donnie was there to stay, and he was probably the next guy on the block. But, they don't really have anyone else to fill that position coming back, right? The only way he'd get squeezed out now is if they made an acquisition at first base or an acquisition in the outfield, or Victor Robles comes back and pushes Luke Raley to more first base. But then Donnie still occupies the right-handed hitting first base. So I guess he's just on the team. If he manages to take his first 2 months and then have a great rest of the year for the team, if he manages to even get to league average by the end of the season, that would be quite the accomplishment. Because he's now after today it's going to be higher, but going into Sunday, he was at a 69 WRC plus, which is still honestly a kind of crazy that he had gotten even up there before entering today. And then he had a phenomenal game today. He hit 2 home runs. And he had hit 1 home run all year. So 200% his home runs for the year today. So I feel like that WRC Plus is going to go up and probably closer to league average. Yeah, live stats. 93. He's getting there. So an absolutely torrid June because his sample is so small, because he hadn't been playing as much as you might expect because he'd been so dog shit, I should say. He, just a small enough sample in June, a torrid stretch at the plate has propelled him back to, is he doing what he's supposed to do? Is the rest of the season actually we're going to get, like, by the end of the year, like a 15% better than the league average weak side platoon bat that he's kind of expected to be when they signed him? That would be really helpful. Maybe it won't happen rest of the year, but it's been enjoyable to actually see him do things because the team has really needed him to do things. Because they were struggling last time I potted. They came off a really, really bad start to the month. They dropped the series to the Orioles, then the Angels, and then the D-backs swept by the Orioles, and the D-backs there won one of those 9 games, and then they responded by sweeping the Guardians because it's baseball and they're back, and then they're not back, and then they're back, and then they're not back again. And they've just been kind of treading water since then. At or above or below, like 1 to 2 games at 500 roughly is where they're at. They seem to just be sticking here, kind of what they did all season last year. So for as good of the start to the season as they had, they're back probably around where they should be, which is funny how those things work out. It's probably right where we thought they'd be. They got here in a very interesting way, but they're back to being below the Astros, and they're 2 games above 500. So if they just keep doing this, that means they can hit their insanely hot stretch in August, have a good month of September, and miss the playoffs by 1 to 2 games, a la Seattle Mariners under Jerry Dipoto, baby. Well, I guess they did that before, but the formula is there yet again for that to be accomplished. They're yet again going to be buyers at the trade deadline. Probably there's no reason not to at this point, especially with the immense amount of talent that you have in the minor league system to deal from. Talked about that last pod. They have too many positions to fill, I think, to feasibly try to upgrade, but they should go full bore to get someone who is available at a position they need. So I don't even know who would be available. First base, we'll see. That would be the place to do it. But if Donnie's just going to keep Donnieing, third base really, because I just don't know I don't know about Ben Williamson, guys. I'll be honest with you. His defense is the metrics have balanced out early on. The metrics didn't like his defense, but you really need a better sample, and they've balanced out. And he's above average defender. Not shocking. That's what he was supposed to be. I just don't know. The rise of Donovan Solano recently has given way to the fall of Dylan Moore too, which they have not needed. Dylan Moore, in the month of June, he has 25 plate appearances, which that's part because he's been terrible. I just want you to guess what he's hitting. What's his WRC plus in June? What's his batting average? I'm going to guess that you were overshooting it. His WRC plus is negative 49, and he's slashing 43, 120, 43, 60% strikeout rate in those 25 plate appearances this month. Awful. Negative win player. He's been terrible, and they really haven't needed this. They need Dylan Moore to be what he's been the past couple seasons. I would say Donovan Solano has completely picked up the slack, so they've kind of balanced each other out in that regard, although they fulfill different responsibilities on the team. But regardless, this team is still deeply flawed, and as I said, they're treading water below the Astros, who just keep winning. The Astros keep winning games. It's really infuriating that they can't die. We simply cannot kill the Astros, and it's wildly frustrating that we can't do that. They keep calling up pitchers, and they keep being just good. It's just wildly frustrating that this is happening. They're 45-33, 5 games above the Mariners. The rest of the division is Garbo. The Rangers still. That World Series is looking more and more not fraudulent. I'm not going to say fraudulent, just insane that they won the World Series with not that different of a team as they currently have. The Angels are actually closer to 500 towards the end of June, closer to 500 than I thought they'd be. The A's have really fallen off. This division's bad. It's still quite bad. I don't even know if the Astros are that good. I just think the division's garbage. The AL in general is pretty garbage, but this division is so bad. But they just played a series in Chicago that was one of the wackiest they've played all year. Maybe the wackiest. It was hot. It was windy. That Cubs offense rakes, but the Mariners out-raked them. Sure, because of course they did. They just put up a season-high 14 runs in the Sunday game, where they scored, 30 runs in 3 games, which might be... It's probably over what was expected, but the over-unders in those games were crazy. There were going to be runs, and there were. And Cal hit 4 home runs in the series, which is sweet. He hit 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. He has 31 home runs now. And that's a transition from Donnie Barrels being hot to Cal Raleigh is just keeping the pace that he's been on, which is astounding. He's still on pace for 60-plus home runs right now, which is ridiculous. I mentioned last pod, even if he goes back to his career norm average, he'd still easily hit 40 home runs. And that was kind of expected. I think we're all kind of expecting a longer, not even slump, just a longer couple weeks or few weeks of Cal being closer to his career norm, which is still above average, but not 60 home run pace. And he keeps saying, no, I'm going to keep hitting home runs from both sides of the plate, and you're going to like it. And I don't disagree with him. I mean, keep doing it, buddy. I'm trying every game. I'm just trying to bask in the greatness of him because it's June. It's not even July yet, and this is already one of the greatest catching seasons of all time. This is already one of the greatest Mariners position player seasons of all time. One of the greatest Mariners seasons of all time, full stop. Like, this is, what he's doing is preposterous, and it's not normal. Not something that we should take for granted. Like, this is insane what he's doing. And he's going to make the MVP discussion this season, like, especially just looking at it right now and saying, okay, let's say he goes to the end of the season and the numbers with Judge, between him and Judge, are similar. It's going to be a really tough conversation. I'm not going to be impartial about it. I'm very biased. I, right now, would give Cal Raleigh the MVP. It's tricky because War's always going to like Judge more, which is fair if he's technically worth more wins. The way that is calculated for his team, he's going to play more games likely than Cal if he's fully healthy. But there's just it's the indefinable catcher qualities of it all. Like, we've captured, I haven't done anything, but the baseball world stat wise has captured a lot more defensive numbers to really try and quantify how good your catcher is behind the plate at, like, receiving, throwing, all that. But there's still more intangible of that we can't quantify, like how he calls games. The fact that we shouldn't penalize a catcher for playing, like 140 games in a season. Like, that would still be a lot of games for a catcher to play versus Judge is going to play maybe every game. That should be factored into the conversation. The guy's back there squatting every 9 innings, and it's not affecting him at the plate whatsoever. That's going to be a part of this MVP conversation. It's catchers have the hardest job in the sport, probably. You have to prepare for your own scouting reports against the pitchers you're going to face when you're at the plate. You also have to prepare for every other hitter on the other team because you're calling the game. You have to know what your pitcher's like, all of the pitchers that you catch, especially in today's game where you're seeing a lot more guys from the bullpen every single game on average. That's more arsenals to have to consider here. And that's going to be a part of this conversation. We're going to make it so toxic. I think I'm like the Mariners internet side of things, but I'm already seeing a lot of people in the baseball world, like, we're starting to have these conversations of how heavily are we going to weigh War versus the fact that he's a catcher, where he's going to have less wins above replacement, probably not as good OPS as Aaron Judge, but he might have more homers than him. And again, he's catching so much. It's going to be a really, really interesting MVP conversation if this keeps up. But again, he has 31 home runs, and it's June 22nd. He's going to be voted, obviously, as the starter for the All-Star game. I am begging him to not do the home run derby. Not because it ruins your swing. We're out on that. a decade ago thinking. That's not how that goes. It doesn't ruin your swing. Sometimes the home run derby and getting to participate in it rewards guys who may have overshot their home run capacity in the first half and they hit less in the second half because that's how stats and baseball works. So I'm not worried about it ruining your swing. I just don't want him to exert any effort over All-Star Weekend, especially since he's a catcher. I need him to be sitting and relaxing the whole few days. He can catch one or two innings in the All-Star game. Just first inning, second inning, maybe. Have 2 at-bats, then bench him. Don't do the home run derby. As much as it would be sick, just put him on ice. But maybe that messes him up. Maybe he's wired because he's actually hitting way better as a catcher than as a DH. Now it's an incredibly small sample compared his DH at-bats compared to his catcher at-bats. But what if maybe that is the key? Maybe he needs to catch 4 innings in the All-Star game and do the home run derby and just never stop grinding until the season's over. Because then what if he takes a break and it just messes with him? I don't know how to handle this. It's definitely, it's his decision. I'm just I worry about him just being gassed after the home run derby and then having to hit the ground running to put this team on his damn back to try to make the playoffs because this team is sad. The team around him is very sad. What he's doing is crazy. He's really his whole approach at the plate is so refined. I talked about it on the last podcast. Every season he's improved in basically every aspect of his game. He's stolen more bases this year, but he's just noticeably punishing mistake pitches more this season. His walk rate is up. I think part of it is because he's just killing pitches, so guys are trying to nibble a lot more and he's not buying it. He's kind of doing what Aaron Judge is so good at. Aaron Judge will go out of the plate or off the plate to try to get a pitch, and that won't succeed, as that tends to happen if you chase a pitch. But he destroys when a guy puts a pitch in the middle of the plate. And that happens a decent amount. Pitchers make mistakes. Cal is noticeably just crushing those. He's had a couple kind of ridiculous, dig him out home runs or home runs at the top of the zone. But it's just noticeable where you can't put a fastball especially, but any pitch in the middle of the plate for Cal, or he's taking you yard. It's just going to happen, and that's a special thing. If it was that easy, then there'd be a lot more offense in baseball. There's a lot of pitches that end up in the middle of the plate, and a lot of guys don't punish it. So I'm looking right now. He's my MVP. It's that value part. It's going to be the thing I always kind of hate that's used against players who are on bad teams, and why WAR is useful in that regard, where it's how valuable truly is he to the team? As a catcher, it's just, again, you shouldn't. It's the same with relievers winning the Cy Young. You can't use WAR for Cy Young if a relief pitcher has a generational season. Otherwise, we're never going to have a Cy Young relief pitcher winner again. And if we're doing the same thing this year, if this keeps up and Cal doesn't win MVP, I don't think we're getting an MVP catcher ever again. If he puts up this kind of season, despite how good Judge has been, you just have to factor in the less accumulation of stats that might happen because he doesn't play every game because he's a catcher, and that would be preposterous if he got even close to playing 162, which he still might. He's still playing a lot. But I have a feeling towards the end of the season there's going to be a little bit more resting for him. At least I think. And so that's got to be factored into the conversation. I don't know what a relief pitcher has to do anymore to win the Cy Young, because I think they have to throw a lot of innings. But again, you have to factor in they just can't do that. So catcher, we'll see. We'll see where this ends up. But what he's doing is stupid. It's genuinely insane. He just keeps hitting home runs and getting on base. His approach is just crazy. So that's I don't want to say about the AL MVP conversation, because it's going to be toxic. It's going to be real toxic. I think what's also going to be in his favor is voter fatigue, which I'm usually not a fan of. I think it happens a lot in the NBA, but it's happened in baseball, I think. I think there was some voter fatigue with Trout. There was the whole stupid conversation of why WAR was made for Trout, which isn't true. But voter fatigue is a thing. I think we're going to see that with Judge, where, yeah, he might end up just being the best player again in the American League because he's very good. But I think some people, voter fatigue is going to kick in and be like, you know what? We should reward this guy for having the greatest season of all time by a catcher because we might never see it again, or might not see it for another decade plus. Anything like this. So I don't look forward to following this because I find MVP discourse to be very frustrating at times. But we'll see where it takes us. Now, to transition to another guy who's been raking, JP Crawford has been destroying the baseball recently, and he's not getting enough credit from the national media. I'll say it. He's just not. He's simply not. He looks so good at the plate. And you know what? His defense still doesn't grade out well. And we're just going to have to deal with the fact that he looks cool when he makes plays, but he's not actually a very efficient defender and honestly never has been. But who cares? You know what? I've always said I love Derek Jeter. Great defender. Same with JP Crawford. Screw the numbers. I like numbers except when they say one of my favorite players on the Mariners isn't actually good at defense like JP. Nah, he's been crushing at the plate. He's doing everything that I think I mentioned. I mentioned in my preview there was the ideal outcome for a guy, and there's where I thought they were going to happen, and I thought was going to happen. The ideal outcome for JP was going to be just repeat exactly what you did in 2023, and right now he's exceeding that. And I didn't even know if he could do that. Last season was a wash. I threw it out because of injury. And could he bounce back and be like he was in 2023, where he made that massive leap at the plate? Went from basically a league average guy at the plate who was had a good approach and everything, and then just upgraded his power completely, tweaked the swing. And he's doing it and more this season. He's been better this season at the plate on at least like a per at-bat basis right now. Obviously, haven't played a full season yet, but he's been healthy too, which is obviously helpful. But right now, he has a 142 WRC plus. He had a 136 in 2023. He has a almost 16% walk rate and a 17.5% K rate, which both of those, the walk rate's up almost 2%. Actually, no, that's not true. Up just over 1%. And the K rate is down a full 2 points. He should make the All-Star game with numbers like that because it's also inherently more of an offensive. Like, the voting is more like, oh, look at the guy's offense. Because, I mean, offense is what you want to see at an All-Star game. Like, WAR is something that you look at that does factor in defensive contributions. But you're really not weighing defense too heavily when you're making like a all-star case. Offense matters more. And it does for value purposes as well. But generally it just does. The problem is that shortstop is quite a loaded position. Right now, if I'm just looking at who are the best shortstops offensively who are qualified, it is Jacob Wilson. I'm just looking at WRC plus here. Not the only factor, but that's super helpful. Jacob Wilson, who I love, super annoying to play against, but I genuinely love a guy like that. Jeremy Pena, who has been, I didn't even mention earlier, I was like, oh, they keep calling up pitchers, those Astros. Jeremy Pena, weird route to get here, but is looking like a guy that everyone thought he was going to be after he won World Series MVP as a rookie. And then JP Crawford is third right now in WRC+. among shortstops in the league. Those top two, as you might notice, are in the American League West. They're in the American League. And then Abrams, Lindor, Trey Turner are the next three all NL. But then like Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt Jr., those two guys after that in the American League have the name cachet, and they've been good. Like Gunnar has had a tough year, but he's still been good. And Bobby Witt Jr., again, has had not as good of a year offensively as he did last season, but he's still stealing a ton of bags and playing great defense. He probably is still the best two-way shortstop in the league. It's him or Lindor in that regard, in my opinion at least. And there's a lot of other good shortstops. I mean, Bo Bichette has had a decent year so far. Like even Josh Smith, Zach Neto, all American League. It's a tough position. I really hope JP can get an all-star nod, because if there's any season right now where he deserves it, it is this one. So we'll see. I really hope. He's such a professional hitter. I mean, we've said that for years, but it upgraded this year completely. And the team has needed it. I had said it's really been Cal putting the team on his back, but it has also been JP. While Julio is middling he's contributing offensively, but with not very much power, still playing great defense. You know, like Randy's still been great, and then Donnie. But the guys at the top of the order, JP, Cal, Randy, have been the guys. And Julio's just been, again, I think just a disappointing month, especially for him. Still having a fine season. I think with each passing day with Julio, the discourse around him online gets worse and worse. And it's frustrating. And I don't want to get into it right now. I'm going to let the season play out a little bit more. But he has taken a lot of the optimism we had about his walk rate and getting to some more power early on in the season to now he's just kind of back in the getting the outcomes that we were kind of worried about him repeating, where he's still a very useful player whom every team would want on their team. But his walk rate is fully back down to his career average. His K rate's still down, which is good, but he's still just swinging at the first pitch a lot, hitting balls into the ground more than you want for a guy who could hit 30 home runs a year. And maybe I'll do more of a deep dive into him at some point. I'm not ready to do that. I'm just going to let it play out a little bit more. This one's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but I wanted to end and talk about the pitching and all right now. Brian Wu is awesome. Logan Gilbert's back. I'll have probably more of a pitching episode as I let the bullpen play out for the rest of June, because don't speak now. Eduardo Pizarro has been phenomenal recently for this team. I'm not going to say I'm feeling vindicated for him being a guy I like purely based on watching him throw pitches, because sometimes you just like a guy, and I just have always just liked watching him. He's been real good, but I'm going to wait a little bit before I tell you to praise me. We're back to Emerson Hancock, serviceable 5-starter, probably nothing more. Brian Wu. Brian Wu's really good. Logan Gilbert's really good. The guy I did want to talk about is Bryce Miller, who is on the IL again. And the report that came out, this was after my podcast came out a couple days after, where he got a PRP injection in his elbow. Will be shut down from throwing for 2 weeks. So as of right now, he has technically 2 days left of that shut down from throwing. So we should be hearing some updates soon on if he's throwing. And then the line from the reporters was he could be available for activation in 4 to 6 weeks if all goes well. So best case, after a PRP injection in his elbow, notably a part of the body where pitchers often get hurt, will be shut down from throwing for 2 whole weeks, and optimistically will get him back first week of August, basically. right? Unless the 4 to 6 weeks means from when he was getting the injection. So still, optimistically, in a month from now, maybe. That's not great, man. Like, that's not good. I echoed on the internet a lot of people's same sentiment where, is it better just for him to get surgery? Obviously, we don't know what is going on behind closed doors. Is this the best for Bryce Miller's career? I think is where I landed. I don't care at this point if he comes back to contribute to this team. I care about Bryce Miller's career, and is him getting this injection and maybe coming back in 4 to 6 weeks worth it? Because what if he comes back in the 4 to 6 weeks and he looks like he has, where it's like it's kind of there, you see flashes of the stuff, but you can just tell that something is wrong. He is not pitching as good as he should. We know how good he can be. We've seen it. And those couple starts after he came back from his first IL stint, everyone knew. Like, we were watching a guy who's clearly hurt and not pitching at 100%. What if he comes back and looks like that again, and then they shut him down and he has to get surgery, and you just pushed his timeline out damn near 2 months, right? Is that worth it for his career outlook? Like, at this point, I don't care if he, like I said, I don't care if he comes back this season. So we'll see. I mean, time will tell. There's obviously a lot of factors, like he met with a doctor who I'm hoping gave him a good outlook on what this could do. I don't know if it ultimately should be Bryce's decision. I imagine for him, he probably is saying he wants to be back and help his team win right now. I doubt Bryce Miller would say, like, no, shut me down. Like, he wants to be out there pitching. But then a certain point comes where the coaching staff and the front office need to be like, no, I don't know, man. To protect him, like, maybe the best course of action will look back is that he should have just gotten surgery right when they found bone spurs in his elbow. And that was it. And he should have just gotten surgery. He can come back at some point next season fully 100% instead of trying to limp through this season and then maybe get surgery anyway and not pitch at all next season potentially. And how does that affect his career? Like, how does it affect his earning potential as he enters soon arbitration? I hope this is the best decision they made for his long-term career in mind, rather than this team needing it right now. Because frankly, I don't think they need a Bryce Miller on this team right now. Logan is back. Kirby is back. Luis Castillo is still pitching well. Brian was great. And I think between Emerson Hancock and Logan Evans, they're fine at the 5 spot. It's been their it's been their identity to have 5 great starters. That still wasn't enough last season. I don't think having a basically league average-ish 5-starter between Evans and Hancock is going to make or break the season. And if it does, that's an indictment on the organization and not those 2 pitchers. Like, if you have the 4 guys that I just listed above them, that is a real good 4. Like, that is still a real solid 4. When they're all pitching well and healthy, that is a great 4. Now, again, this could come into play where if those guys get hurt again, then it's like, I don't know. But there will always be starters available. Maybe they just get a veteran at the deadline for not very much cost because they just want to put him at 5, because sometimes just having a veteran league average guy at your 5 spot is better than trying to make Hancock or Evans good and see what they do. But again, I don't think that makes or breaks the season. This is not where our priority should be with the team. The priority should be offense, as it always has been and should be and always will be for this team, which is frustrating. It should be the corners yet again. We're looking at the corners to upgrade, as always. So I don't know. I hope it's a good decision for Bryce. I'm skeptical. I think everyone else is skeptical. I didn't see anyone on the internet take that news and say, oh, great, yeah, awesome. No, I saw everyone be like, oh, I don't know about that. I just don't know about that. And it's good to see. And it's more, again, I care about Bryce's long term because he's young. But you can't just bank a 10-year career in the bigs, man, even as talented as he is. Like, I hope it gets resolved and he's fine moving forward. It would be great if he comes back and is just amazing again for this team. That'd be awesome. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. But I'm going to leave it there because I'm still recovering from being sick. I got sick. I was out of town, and then I got sick, and then I got healthy for 3 days, and then I got a different sickness, and I'm still kind of recovering from that. They have a homestand coming up now. Oh, no, they don't. My bad. They have another week of ball against the Twins and the Rangers on the road. Long road trip, Chicago, Minnesota, Texas, and then back home. That Texas series is going to be an interesting one between two just aggressively mediocre baseball teams. And after much consternation, we've arrived at this point where, hey, this team, again, 2 games above 500, right around where they should be. Looking to buy at the deadline again. It's the same exact season as the past 3 years. It is the same thing, just with stuff shuffled around. Jerry Dipoto is so good at just moving things around because why the hell not? He's so good at that. It's frustrating, but that's where they're at. I'll leave you there. Cal Raleigh is the most valuable player in the American League as of right now. That's my stance. Go Mariners. Have a great rest of your week. Goodbye.